The ticking clock, rows of perfectly uniform desks, the pressure of high-stakes exams, rigid schedules, and soaring tuition fees. Strip all of that away. We are jumping back roughly 3,000 years to the misty, untamed forests near the river Ganga, around 800 BCE, life entirely to his teacher, his guru. Aruni's world presents a historical paradox. How did a civilization without enclosed classrooms, without written textbooks, and without any tuition fees, build an educational foundation so resilient it eventually birthed world-class ancient universities? To solve this mystery, we must track Aruni through his daily routine. In the Gurukul, every chore and every chant functioned as a distinct lesson in a curriculum that spanned from sunrise to sleep. Quiet, steady. Long before sunrise, the students, known as shishyas, wade into the freezing river to bathe. Then, gathering around a crackling sacred fire in the pre-dawn gloom, they chant Vedic hymns to begin the day. But the morning isn't spent reading. The guru assigns strict physical chores. Students hike into the surrounding forest to gather heavy loads of firewood, haul fresh water, sweep the ashram grounds, and care for the cattle. Modern academic systems often view manual labor as a distraction from studying. Here, in the deep forest, physical survival and academic learning are totally intertwined. The Gurukul philosophy followed a strict psychological sequence. Character had to be forged before advanced knowledge could be handed over. They believed a student must first master humility and self-reliance before they could master the cosmos. By midday, the academic training begins. Looking at this sprawling banyan tree with its thick aerial roots, you are seeing the ultimate classroom without walls. You will find no blackboards here and absolutely no notebooks. The guru relies entirely on an oral tradition. Students absorb complex texts like the Vedas and Upanishads through intense rhythmic repetition, training their minds for perfect retention and precise listening. This diagram outlines their immense curriculum. From a single point, a student's mind branches out to master grammar, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy. These branches morph into orbital paths, showing how students tracked precise seasonal shifts by mapping the sun and moon without physical instruments. For Kshatriya students, the warrior class, the mind and body were trained together. As captured in this ancient stone relief, they mastered physical combat, weaponry, and archery. This midday curriculum aimed to produce a polymath. They demanded a thinker capable of dissecting the granular rules of grammar while simultaneously tracking the macro movements of the universe. In the afternoon, theory gives way to practical application. Students split into groups based on their individual aptitudes to learn hands-on agriculture, test medical treatments, or study statecraft. They pause for a basic meal of rice, milk, and fruit. Even this provides a lesson in interconnectedness, as the Gurukul relies entirely on voluntary food donations from nearby villagers to sustain itself. As evening approaches, the entire ashram gathers back around the fire for debate sessions. Rather than passively absorbing lectures, students are encouraged to question the day's teachings and challenge the guru's logic. This fireside dialogue required students to defend their own logic. It transformed the ashram into a laboratory for critical thinking, where raw data was forged into independent wisdom. When a student finally completes their 10 to 20-year journey, there is no formal graduation ceremony. They are not handed a degree or a parchment certificate. The culmination of their entire education is marked by Guru Dakshina, a completely voluntary gift or a significant act of service offered directly by the student to their teacher. This tradition created a profound economic reality. By delaying compensation to the very end of the process, this intensive education was offered for free up front, ensuring that knowledge was accessible regardless of a student's wealth. Over several centuries, these decentralized forest communities began to cluster together. As more gurus and shishyas gathered in specific regions, their standardized oral methodologies began to coalesce into permanent structured settlements. By the 6th century BCE, these clusters had evolved into formalized urban institutions like Takshashila. These expansive stone ruins reveal a transition from simple forest huts to a complex city of learning that could house thousands, and by the 5th century CE, the system reached its peak. Looking at the towering, multi-level red brick ruins of Nalanda, you can see the architectural leap to a massive monastery university that drew scholars from across Asia. The legacy of this system remains in its definition of success. The Gurukul prioritized the cultivation of character and discipline, treating mastery of facts as a secondary tool for a larger goal, the pursuit of wisdom.